That, help me welcome Jodi Livon.
Hello. You guys can hear me? Nothing's knocking against the microphone yet, right? Good morning. I'm so happy to be here. It's gorgeous out, and I get to be in this beautiful building with all of your beautiful energy. And I get to talk about removing the mask, which I could talk about pretty much forever because I know a lot about hiding or covering. And for a person who is in her 50s and who has had no example of how to do it, I had to come out of the psychic closet. So I wore masks at a very young age when I knew things that other kids didn't know. Like the new kid that just transferred in that was going to be really mean, or someone's dog that was about to die and my friends didn't know. I didn't even meet the dog. I could just feel it. I just mentioned it to a friend and they're like, how do you know? That's a young dog. And unfortunately, it was true. I didn't know. I wasn't supposed to say anything. So I learned how to cover. And that's part of why we wear a mask, is to protect ourselves. So we should stop beating ourselves up for it. A lot of times we think of somebody wearing a mask as not being themselves, but there's lots of us. There's lots of pieces of ourselves, right? So when we're really comfortable and we're dialed into who we are and we feel grounded and connected to the earth and we feel the love of all the energy around us, we connect with our higher knowing self. I call that our higher soul self. And then the masks just come right off. But most of us don't walk around in that Zen place all the time. It's something to hope for. I know I'm working on it myself. Traffic can be a little bit challenging. So I'm going to start out with sort of an opposite kind of a story. I was a property and marketing analyst for a very large real estate company in the Twin Cities about 30 years ago. And I had just quit cutting hair because I was allergic to it. My hands were breaking out. I thought that was a sign from the universe that if you go home and your hands are bleeding, maybe you shouldn't be doing what you're doing. So I took it seriously and I switched careers to something I had tried before, which was property management, all the while trying to get my degree. And this company hired me. This was, I think, my third job in property management, so it was a few years after I stopped cutting hair. And I'm a great salesperson, and I can feel what a company needs. I'm a corporate psychic now, so it's kind of morphed. And I said, here's what I can do for your properties. This is when there was an overgrowth in the Twin Cities. Do you remember way too many apartment buildings? Too many apartment units, real estate. Anyway, they believed me, and I went on a property and I leased these. This is many years ago. These apartments were like $2,300 a month. Then they'd switch me to another place and they were $400 a month, and I just could lease because I liked people. I could connect, and I could manage, and I could tell them what to do with their marketing. So I became a property and marketing analyst for the company. I went to this building that I will not tell you where it is, but it was at a time where there was some gang membership issues. Not the kind of gang that you want hanging around, the kind that you hope gets some help and goes somewhere else. And nobody would stay managing in this area. I won't tell you why, but you could probably do the math. So I go there in my little short skirt and my granny boots, and I'm walking in, and these guys are kind of catcalling me, and I turn around with a look that could hurt people. And then I'm like, oh, those are the people were telling me about. So I sauntered on up, and I said, did you want something from me? No, honey, I just think you look good. I said, that's just so sweet. A simple smile would be good. So I thought, energetically, that worked. Thank God. And I walked away. I went into the office, and I'm looking at what they have for marketing, which was nothing. I'm looking at what they had for staff, which was very little. And this guy comes in. And he comes in, and it's early in the morning, and all of us schwitz. You know what schwitz means? Glisten, sweat. But he already was. And it was like 8. So he walks in, and he's got like tools around his belt, and he's jangling as he comes in, and like, this is actually funny. And then he starts shooting off all these things at me that he needs. Not hello, here's my name, but all these things he needs. And I'm thinking, I'm sure he does. It's a property in trouble. And I'm writing some of it down, and my first job was to find out who's doing their job. Then I'm supposed to find, and then I do an analysis of the whole property and the properties around it. But I couldn't really do much of that because all of a sudden I'm right in there with him. And he's telling me all the things that he needs. And I said, well, I can get you these 8 out of 20 that you just said, but the rest of it I need to check with the home office. He goes, what are you, just a leasing agent? And I got afraid. And I backed out, and I backed down. And my energy wasn't a property and marketing analyst anymore, or the gutsy lady that just told those gang members, what you doing? And I watched myself disappear and put on a different face. And he turns around and he tells some other staff members, she's just a leasing agent. Well, number one, there's no such thing as just a leasing agent. The salesperson does a lot. I was there to do a lot. That was part of it, is to train their salespeople. But I remember that story because I didn't stand in my own space. I didn't hold my own energy. I let his fear and what was going on in the property push me over. That's a way I was wearing a mask. We think of wearing a mask as putting on false bravado, or fibbing about something, or acting like we're really confident about something and we're not. And those are all ways we put on masks, for sure. But there's also the pieces that help protect us. In that moment, I needed to back out, and I needed to gather my energy. And what it's done for me, that was a long time ago. I still remember it. I still remember what it felt like to not be able to stand in my own glory, to not own my own energy. And I don't let it happen very often anymore. But when I do, it's because I'm afraid. So what I want to talk about is why we put on a mask. Why it kind of comes up is because we need a moment. So if you say to yourself, I just needed a moment, or a year or two, then you give yourself permission to do that. And it's not really a mask anymore. It's something that you purposely put on. It's to aid you. It's an assistant. And so you don't have to be embarrassed about it or upset about it. You just say, I'm leaning into that because it's what I need for the moment. And it's all right if I do that. It's not really all right if I fib, because that's going to come back and it's going to hurt whoever I'm talking to, but I certainly can wear a mask for self-protection and then go own it later. And let me tell you, I did go own it later. I let him know exactly what I did, and I helped get the things done that I could, and the guy backed down. He wasn't there a few months later, and it wasn't just because of the report I wrote, because I always tried to save jobs. But some of them weren't savable, right? Because the mask he wore was aggressive. He was protecting himself. But we have to be able to say, okay, this suits me right now, but I have a job to do. Do you guys ever how about if you come into a wedding a little bit late? Like right before the bride starts to walk down the aisle, and you're like, I want to see the wedding, they're ushering me in, what do? You just kind of walk in like you're part of it, and people look at you, and you just sit down and you smile, and I mean, what can you do? Like, what? You don't want to miss the wedding. You just drove 3 hours to see it, right? So just own it. And if somebody says to you, you don't seem like you're feeling very confident, you want to say to them, that's not a very friend-like thing to say. But you also want to say, oh, I'm sure I'm just gathering my energy. I'm just gathering my energy. Because who we are is really all right. We're all right. We're not here to please not one person. We're not here to please any one person that's on this planet. We are here to shine our own light and to be a part of the light of lights. That's why we came. And whether or not you believe in reincarnation for this moment, know that before you were born, you helped plan your life. Certain pieces of it, what you'd look like, who your parents would be, your siblings, some of the basic things, and then you'd have all these other things come at you or for you later on, and you would get to choose. So you color your whole life. You write your life story. But there are certain things that you start out with. But you didn't come here because you had a problem with lying before and you came to fix it. You came here because you don't really feel the need to lie anymore, and you're going to work it through because it feels really good to do that. Or maybe you weren't born with just a ton of confidence, and you decided this time you're going to put yourself in a position where you were going to grow it because it would feel good. Excuse me. That's why you did it. So when you have a challenge, instead of saying to yourself, someone's trying to hurt me, This is what I do. There's lots of challenges. You don't have to say, oh, thanks for the challenge, but you can say, I'm up for this. Because I wouldn't be here in this life if I weren't. I'm up for this. It can stink. It can be horrible. Some way you'll get through it. Because the big joke is we try so hard to stay alive, and we should. We're here for this. We get to have a body. But life's on the other side, too. So it doesn't end. So you can't really fail, and you can't really lose. Because what happens when we're done is we get to start all over in a whole different way, and it's wonderful. So if you kind of take the heat off of dying, you can live more. You can just have more joy. Isn't that funny? I'm just holding the water and my voice feels better. Now let's see what happens if I put this down. So I would venture to say that there's not anybody here who hasn't had a challenge, and there's nobody here that hasn't had an experience of feeling their own insight and their own intuition. Your intuition can help you navigate through your life. It can be that extra thing. I am a medium. That's not the thing that I depend on 100% unless I'm working and I'm doing readings. It's a part of me. It isn't all of me. So your intuition is part of you, but it's not all of you. If you're going to say something is all of you, it is that stream of light that flows through you. Anybody ever have that feeling of you're talking to a friend, or you see a movie, or you're reading a book, and it's not just an aha moment, it's aha over and over and over again, and you're in this space of glory. Like you just feel good, and you're not drunk. And you're not stoned. You haven't eaten one of those little gummy things. And you just feel good. There is a way that you can get to that space consciously through your intuition, because you let your intuition pull you in the direction that you want to go. So if you're making a decision, let's say you're going in for a job interview, and you know they need somebody that's really artistic, and your idea of artistic is not matching your earrings with your necklace. So you don't know that you fit the bill, but you want them to offer it to you anyway, and you know that you could do the job. But they're looking, from the people you know that have told you about the job, for somebody really artistic. You could wear a mask that would help you by doing something with your clothes or having somebody dress you and walk in. But whomever is interviewing you, they see you, and their first impression, their vibration that you put out, because everything that you are puts out an energy, they're going to see that, and they're going to feel it consciously or unconsciously. But it's what you say. It's your response to them, and it's how you feel about those questions that's going to be louder than anything. So if you want to put a mask on that says, I'm artistic, that's all right. As long as you know you're doing it. As long as you know that you're doing that, it's not really a bad thing. You're just using it to help you. And you can have your intuition help you with it, because then once you sit down, you can even make a joke about it. You can even say, I got to tell you, I know how to do all these things on your list of 12 things that you need from this person that's going to work here, but I don't know how to do this, which is look like everyone else here, because my art comes out of me. It doesn't show on me. You just removed the mask. It's a wonderful thing to do. Or how about anybody here never ever dress up, and then you go somewhere and you have to, and you feel like, oh my God, this bow tie, or oh my God, this dress, or I just wore heels. I was in Colorado this weekend for something for my husband's work, and I wore heels, and I swear to you, my knee's not working anymore, because I'm not used to wearing heels. But that wasn't a mask. That was just like fun for me to dress up and be that, and I knew that. I wasn't pretending that's who I am. That was just what I was feeling at the moment. So again, you don't beat yourself up over it. You just make peace with where you are. There's so much power in it. And your insight can help you do it, because do you know when something feels good and something does not? Can you tell inside of you when something feels good? Or have you dulled that sense so much because you're just trying to get through the day and get through your life? Because when you start to understand your feelings, I always say this, they are the wings of your intuition. When you start to understand your feelings and not be owned by them, it's a wonderful thing. Your intuition really starts to light up. Because again, your insights all come through how you feel. And everybody here is psychic. Everybody's psychic. And everybody's a little mediumistic. So your insights come from how you feel. But if you've been feeling really yucky, really crummy, you're not going to want to know how you feel even if it's that you're hungry or that you have an itch, because you're trying to push away something that's gone on for you. God bless you. You're trying to push away something that's gone on for you. But if you say, okay, I'm going to take a little piece of that, I'm going to work those things out that I haven't been wanting to look at, because your feelings come up naturally. Your emotions are the story you tell yourself about what your feelings mean. Right? Have you ever told the story about getting shots? So I am a person who does not like needles at all. I would run fast if I had to go to the doctor. They couldn't even find me. Like to take blood when you're a kid. And I would pass out, actually, from a finger prick. But when I got pregnant with my oldest, and they wanted to take my blood to make sure that everything was right, I was like, all right, which arm you want? Both? I'm good. Never passed out. Because the story I told myself about the needle was different. So that's the thing you watch, is what the story that you're telling yourself about what your emotions mean, and you can change it. Be an artist. You can change it to something that's not so bad. If you have to go in to get a procedure done because it's just what you're supposed to do and it's not going to be fun, then you say, this isn't going to be fun, but I'm going with, and at the end, I'm going to eat caramel. Or you say something to yourself to reward yourself, and you don't have to live in that moment constantly. You live in it the moment it's happening, and then it's done. Anybody here ever go to college? So I was a person who did not want to even deal with anything about it before I took the class. I got everything I needed to, I registered, but I wouldn't think about it. Because once I started taking that class, that's all I thought about. Or classes. That's all I thought about it. I dove right in, and then when I was done, I was done. I was just right there in that moment, because otherwise it was too draining. And I knew it felt right for me to do those classes because it felt good inside. I know it feels right if I have to go have some procedure for something, because I know that I'm going to feel better afterwards. So you do things because they feel good, even if they don't feel good in the moment. And you do it because your intuition can pull you there, right? Somebody can tell you something, and intellectually you can say, no, that doesn't work. But your heart might go, yeah, it does. And your insight might go, yeah, it does. And then you want to start to listen. And you go in the direction of the things that feel good. Imagine that right through your solar plexus, there's like this beautiful silver thread that pulls you in the direction that you need to go for your own spirit, to be happy. Because that's why you're here. It's so funny, why am I here? We all ask these questions, like, what am I supposed to be doing in life? Fun. You're supposed to have fun. My kids will say, I'm here to have fun, I'm not cleaning my room. And then I'll say, you'll have more fun when you can actually walk through your room and I don't get hurt when I go into it too. You'll have more fun, I promise. It'll be more fun. So it's that kind of the way that you look at it. But I don't think a mask is bad. And I think, back to the mask, I don't think the mask is bad. As long as you know you're doing it, and that you know that you're doing it because you need a break, you're taking a break from something, you need some protection, and then the minute you realize that, it just fades, and you just are you, and it doesn't matter. I've had this wonderful experience in my life where I go to a party and I don't care if anybody likes me, because I like me. So it doesn't matter. And when you do that, you radiate a light. I mean, are you sitting with somebody right now that you can feel their light? When you're radiating a light, or can you feel your light? This is how you feel your light. Uncross your legs for just a second. And rub your feet back and forth so you can feel the soles of your feet. Without knocking the person out next to you, gently raise your arms. Twirl your wrists around one way. Twirl your wrists around the other. And then let your arms do a little stretch, not that you get hurt, just a little stretch, pull up. And then gently let your hands drop to your thighs, palms up, and close your eyes. For just a minute, listen to yourself breathe, just in and out through your nose. Now imagine on this next inhale that a white light comes up, this healing, beautiful, all higher energy comes up from the core of the earth and goes up through your body, all the way up as you breathe in. And as you exhale, it comes out of the top of your head, surrounds you in this egg-shaped form of beautiful white iridescent light, and then all of a sudden that energy goes right back into the earth and then comes up again through your feet. Every time you inhale, you inhale this healing, beautiful earth energy, and then it goes up out the top of your head, kisses the universal energy, and comes back down around you. So you are filled with this light, completely filled with this light. Now, for just a moment, think about a time where something happened that felt really, really, really good. Could have been seeing a butterfly. Could have been interacting with somebody that you love. And just keep your breath in and out through your nose if you can. Feel the feeling in your belly that you have when you think of this experience of being with this wonderful person or having this amazing experience. Let it fill you up. Let it go into your shoulders and your neck. Well, see, that worked, you guys. I can feel that feeling inside of you. See how it's almost like there's something inside of your solar plexus dancing and lifting up. Now breathe in and out one more time, consciously, and then open your eyes. Does the room look different to anybody? Do the colors seem brighter to you? Things are more vivid? You're in your body. And you're feeling the light that is you. When you start to fill your mind up with something that feels really good to you, your whole being radiates this wonderful energy. And it is a superpower, and it's yours. That's your insight, that's your love. Talk about self-protection. Loving everybody is the best self-protection around. Thinking these positive thoughts instead of the negative ones that go through your head all the time is amazing. And you don't beat yourself up if you have one of the thoughts that don't serve you. You just fill yourself up with things that feel good. And then things that you want to happen just naturally start to occur. So how do you do that in your everyday life? It's wonderful here, and I know, because I know some of you that have come to see me in my office or just know you, that this feeling that you get when you're here in this beautiful place lasts you. You don't just walk out of here with the feeling, you keep it, right? So how do you keep reigniting it every single day? By consciously choosing to think things that feel good. By consciously choosing to not beat yourself up over something, but to own your stuff. So if you do something that doesn't feel good to somebody else, and you did it because you were in an angry space, own it. Just say, you know, when I did that to you the other day, that wasn't nice. I'm super sorry. I allowed you to get caught up in something that had nothing to do with you. And what about if somebody hurts you, and you don't feel like you can go to them and say, I forgive you, you idiot? You want to go in your mind to say, I would really like to go up to them and say, I forgive you, you idiot. But that doesn't work. But just thinking that funny thought lifts your vibration. And then you know that people don't actually deliberately do things to hurt anybody. They do it because they think it's going to make them feel better. Everything we do is for how we feel. Everything. And how we feel is affected by the story we're telling ourselves about what that means, about what the emotion behind it means. So if you do things like, in the morning you have to have your tea. You leave things out in the morning, that's going to help you get your tea ready if you're rushing around. Or if you know that you have a meeting to go to and your car doesn't have any gas and you don't feel like waking up early, get your tuchus out and go fill your tank. And then come back, tuchus. Then come back and go to sleep and wake up whenever it is you're supposed to wake up and know that you have that full tank because it's worth it, because it feels good. It might not feel good to go out and do it at 8 o'clock at night, but doesn't it feel good when you roll back in at 8:20 and your tank is full and you don't have to worry about it anymore? Because it feels good. We do things because it feels good. We want to be with people because we think it's going to make us feel better. Anybody have the experience that you think you found the perfect person, but the relationship you're having is the same one you've had with everybody else? It's because you're not feeling yourself. You're not feeling your light. You're not giving yourself a break, so maybe you're not giving other people a break. Or maybe you're drawing people towards you so you can get that lesson, and it's okay. You're in that position, you just say, it's okay. Anybody ever oversleep? That's like the worst. But then you just say to yourself, there's not a person on this planet over 20 that hasn't, well, over 12, that hasn't overslept. Give yourself a break and just keep moving. Tell yourself something nice. Do you remember Post-it notes? So I used to love to write things on Post-it notes, like, it's okay. I'm okay. My favorite was, if they don't ask, don't tell, and if they ask, think twice before you say it. Because people would come up to me all the time and ask me questions because I'm psychic. And they'd want all this information from me, which A, is working, B, it's poor boundaries, because I'm not in my office. And nobody has said, yes, I want your information. If somebody just comes to you and wants to take it really quick, they're not going to value it in the way that they could, and if it doesn't work, it's your fault. But when the boundaries are set, you come to me because you're coming for a reading, then you understand how it works. I'll give you tons of information. You do with it what you will. And it's yours. It's a good boundary. So I used to have on my refrigerator, if they don't ask, don't tell, because I would just vomit stuff all the time. It would just erupt. So I figured, why don't I just do this for my work instead of, being a corporate psychic and not telling anybody that I was psychic. They figured it out. But, just kind of coming out with it, coming out of the closet more and dropping more of the mask, because I was ready. So my kids like to make fun of me. I don't know where they learned things like that. But because I do have things all over my house, and I'll repeat things, even when they look at me, teenagers, when they look at you like, I really hate you. Good thing you can't read my mind. So that can be hard energy to be around, and so I would put baby pictures all around of them with little things under it to remind me of when they were so cute, and their thighs and the cankles and So it helped me when they would think those things at me. Choose your words, choose your bliss. I made these for me. And then I decided to put them on something for people they'd actually maybe use them themselves. Because when I do readings, and I've done readings I've been reading people since I was a teen, but professionally for money since I was an older teen. And affirmations would come out specifically for somebody. They'd just come out for a person, and I wouldn't write them down, but they were really cool. So now I just write them down, and they're really for everybody. Choose your words, choose your bliss. It all started when I looked for the light. It became stronger when I felt the light from within. Now I see the light everywhere I go. When I read something like this before I go to sleep, I wake up feeling better. My intuition is really good, because when you're happy, you're more insightful. Everybody goes, what's the gift or what's the trick to being psychic? Be happy. If you can find your happy moments, your intuition comes to you. And if you have somebody that's on the other side, in heaven, dead, however you want to say it, in spirit, they find you through your joy. Because love never dies. And it's like there's this slide, and they ride the slide made of love right to you. And you can feel them when you're feeling love. Because love doesn't die. And so that connection's always there, but you have to feel love. I remember when my dad died, I was so upset. I would be on the floor crying, get up, make the meal for my kids, get back on the floor. It was the weirdest thing. I'd never felt anything like that before. And I'd lost people that I love, and I'm a medium, for goodness sakes. But I was so upset that I would just fall to pieces. As I call his energy in, sorry. See? Do you see that happen? Whoosh, comes in my dad. But when I was like, why aren't you coming to me? I'm a medium. You know I'm a medium. I wrote that book, remember? No, Dad. But when I started feeling my joy and my love, not even just for him, I could feel him. And I heard him. Believe me, when you're a medium, you don't really believe it right away, because you just think, really, I'm just playing tricks with myself. But then they say things to you that only your dad knows. And you know it's them. That's how you do that. Pretty cool, right? I write books about this. Well, I like to write. That's why I write the books. But I like it because people ask the same questions, like, is this true? Am I imagining it? I really feel like my dad is leaving me dimes. Or everywhere I go, I see my sister's initials on license plates. I go to the club to go work out, and part of the key to get into there, the code, is her last name, K. Is that me? Yeah. Oh. Have you been hearing that the whole time? Just No, okay. You tell me if you do, because I'll take my earring off and I'll look like a gypsy. So when you're in your joy, you are able to feel not just your insight, but the people on the other side that can help you. You really can. So I wrote these things and I put them, I hang them in my car, but don't drive with them. You have to take it down, but every time you get in your car, whether you use an affirmation that I wrote or somebody else wrote, do something right when you get in your car that's nice for you. Look in your rearview mirror and say something nice to you. I know most people want to throw up when I say that because we're not used to saying nice things to ourselves, but try it. Also, I hang these on my doors because it reminds me to say something nice instead of the 50,000 things that I have to do, and these are two-sided. But this is one of my favorite ones because I've been through some pretty tough things myself. If the other shoe drops, run barefoot. And then the other things that this does is this. So part of the reason I just told you that is because this is really important if you have something in your head, glued in your head that you can always refer to that makes you feel good. Because then you feel good and you can be yourself. Then you just be you. It reminds you to be you. And the other thing is I love coming here, and I've been coming here for a few years. Every single time I'm done, I go, I forgot to tell people about any of my own stuff. When I'm on TV, that I write affirmations and that I write books. So you probably already know that. But for me, being proud of myself and standing in my energy says, I'm an author. I've written 2 books, and they're from the Happy Medium series, and I just got a deal to write another one. So I'm writing another book. I'm proud of that. I have a learning disability, and I used to hear the teachers say, she's never going to get it. Yeah, they're dead, because I couldn't send them a book, but I did send them a book in my own way. I did, and I signed it. Because for me, this is everything I do is a big accomplishment, and the same with you. And stand in your glory and be proud of it. One of the things I think is hilarious about our society is how obsessed we are with weight, right? And so when people come up and say, did you lose weight? Did you lose weight? People don't really say to you, did you gain weight or did you gain weight? But my weight goes up and down. And so I love it when I know someone's thinking that, because it's the energy. It's not the thought that I hear, it's the energy behind it. When I walk up and I go, yes, I did gain weight. Blows them away. Makes me feel so much better about what's happening. Because humor lifts your... And I don't do it to be mean most of the time. Then I go home and I read my affirmations if I did, because, that would have been my own insecurity. Does anybody have any questions about this or intuition? I know you do. Go ahead.
What happens if someone...
Oops, forgot that piece. I'll beat myself up later for that.
Yeah, what happens when someone doesn't believe in intuition or rejects intuition?
This is what I do. You be the person that rejects it, okay? You just think to yourself, I don't believe in any of this. You'd have to be a really good actor for that, Jackie. This is what I do. You guys, can you see this? I don't care. I don't. The first time I was on Twin Cities Live, which was the second television show I was ever on, I do this wonderful show, and I've been on it since '09. I'm their resident psychic, and I get to showcase the intuitive process, which is so cool. How about that? Minnesota has this. A lot of other cities don't have somebody that's on like me that shows it in this great way. So some other dead person just rushed in. Can you guys see it? Because you see my eyes kind of change when somebody does that? I don't know if anybody here reads energy. I have to go back to where I was, and I'm in front of all of you, and they're taping it too. I forgot where I was. So what happens is, because I'm a medium, spirits see my light, and they literally can come in and take a thought right out of my head because they're there. And I'm sure it looks like ADD, and I probably have that too, but I always call it spirit ADD because they just pull my thought away. Okay, who's going to tell me what I was just thinking or saying? You guys can't know it happened to you too. Okay, there it is. Oh, I know why I forgot about that. Because the host, one of the hosts at the time, walked into they call it the green room, and I know I've told this story before, and said, I don't really believe in this. I just want you to know that. And I thought, I'm going to throw up. I'm going to throw up on television, and it's probably going to go on YouTube, and that's bad. And then I changed my thought, and I went, that's his problem. That's his problem. But he picked at me the whole first show. Like, he wasn't trying to, he was just being who he was. And he was saying, isn't this kind of like being a vacuum salesperson that goes door to door? And I'm like, no, I don't have the shoes for that. Okay, that's what I thought in my head, but I didn't say it. But I was pinching myself so I wouldn't literally get sick. I had marks all over my hand, but nobody could see it. And he said, what do you do if people just say, this is a bunch of stuff? Well, I couldn't be as dramatic as I just was, but I tried. I just go, that's fine. I don't try to convince anybody of this. It is what it is. Why waste my energy on that, right? So I left, and I'm sure he thought he would never see me again. And he's actually truly a nice guy, but I'm sure he thought he'd never see me again. Yep, since '09. He's not there anymore. He's doing something else that he absolutely loves, but I'm still there, right? And he's happy. And he actually, at the end, kind of got it. I have it on YouTube. You should see it. His name's John. Okay, and I adore him. Actually, truly adore him. I didn't care that he didn't believe in it. It was fun. It was fun to watch that. All the hosts on that show are fabulous. Okay, another question? This gentleman, wait 1 second, because Jay's going to come out and give you the mic.
Well, now I lost my guts.
Or a spirit came in and took your thought right away.
Yeah, when you start as a psychic, when you start seeing things or people that are doing things before they do it, whether it be a half a second, 3 minutes, an hour.
When I get a sense about it, it's precognitive.
Yeah, when you
yep.
actually see them doing something, but they don't do it for about 3 minutes or 4 minutes. What do you call that?
A gift from God. So it's precognitive. It's a precognitive thought. And what I'm seeing about anything that is future related is I'm seeing the signs that indicate what might happen, but I'm not seeing the future. Because we create our own future and I could change it. And if it's about somebody else, they're on their own path. But that's precognitive. You're just seeing it and you can have precognitive dreams. It's through, I call them the clairs, clairvoyant. You can hear things, smell things, see things, taste things. In fact, think about this right now. What's your favorite sense? Are you visual? Do you love the way things taste? Do you smell things, good and bad, and you can always place them? Hear things? What is it? Sense, just completely sense things? Those are what I call the clairs, and they're coming into being for you. They're lighting up. Your intuition can speak to you through that. So I have clients with this amazing sense. They're chefs. They have such an amazing sense of taste that when somebody comes through from the other side, or they're not supposed to do something, if they're not supposed to do it, they'll taste something that they don't like when they eat. They don't like it when it's in a food. And that's telling them, no, I'm not going to go in that direction. That doesn't feel good. When you're sitting in your family room and all of a sudden you smell what very likely could be Jean Natte, which used to be very popular, and you know that your great aunt wore it, and there's no one around, and you've been thinking about her all day, guess what? There's your aunt, complete with Jean Natte. And it comes through that sense of smell if you have a really strong sense of smell. That's part of how your intuition works too. So we know today that getting happy helps you be more insightful, and also to pay attention to the senses that are most on fire for you. That was a big, long answer. I used to do really well in essays, because I overwrite. Okay, so when I know that people have questions or are having a thought and they want to share it, there's like this balloon over their head with the question, but I can't quite read it. So I always know when people have questions, and it's hilarious to me, I don't mean this in a mean way, when they don't raise their hand. You have a question?
How do you know, like, with your intuition, like, if you sense things or hear voices or hear things, how do you know what's yours and not? How do you differentiate that?
It's a great question. So that's about boundaries. Knowing if you're picking up something that's about you or somebody else. So the best way that you can know it, and I know this is a bore fest for a lot of people, is you have to know how you feel. So if you're constantly checking in with yourself about how you feel, are you hungry? Are you tired? Are you feeling happy? When all of a sudden something else comes in that doesn't feel like, that's just like foreign, that wasn't me, that's not your stuff, that's somebody else's. And if you're empathic, and there are a lot of very empathic people in this room, in fact, I think I'd be better off counting who's not, and I don't know that I'd be counting anybody. Just because you pick something up doesn't mean it's yours. Just remember that. You pick something up about somebody doesn't mean it's yours, you just walk away. I am not a vacuum salesperson. It is just a good, funny joke now, right? So if you are getting the sense, let's say you're with a really good friend, and all of a sudden you just get this heavy, 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 heavy feeling whenever she talks about her girlfriend that she lives with, that's her love. And you don't know why. You don't say, gee, I feel really heavy about this. I think something's going to happen. Let's talk about it. You just take a note. You just say, okay, this is going on. And then when she says, you know, she's been kind of borrowing money from me, like from my purse without asking. Then instead of saying, I knew it, I'm psychic, you say, oh, that'd be kind of a surprise to me. How do you feel about that? You just let her roll with it. And because it's about her rolling with it, you support it. Or if you're feeling like you have a friend that has had cancer and they're always afraid about it and there's nothing that's showing that it's back, you just say, I feel like you're totally healthy. And you help reignite in that person that health. So how you pick up when you're picking something up is you know your space. And then if you're picking up about somebody that it's not your business, you just let it go. And if you get something, interpret it in the most positive way you can. Just the most positive way you can. And then when you're done, walk away. When I'm done working, I have all these really fun things that I do. I picture a shower happening and all the energy coming off of me, or some big vacuum coming and taking everybody else's energy that doesn't belong to me, or the spirits that sometimes, they don't usually follow me home, but they'll be in my car when I'm driving to work, talking to me. And I'm singing to the radio, and I'm not, what is this? They're talking to me, and that's all right, but I have to know when to shut it low. I can't shut it off, but I can shut it low. So what's really fun is when I do a corporate meeting in front of a bunch of people who, God bless whoever sneezed, who aren't used to psychics at all, but I have an awesome business sense, so I'm really good at this, and they don't know that I can read energy, and it's always that middle finger energy that's coming at me when I come in. And they don't know I can see it, and I think it's hilarious because they don't know. What they don't know is foreign to them, so the mask they're wearing is, I don't like it. But by 20 minutes goes by and they get it. Because I'm saying enough things that shows them I know what's going on in their business and who's doing what. And I'm giving them productive things to do to help their business grow. So they're not there anymore and their energy completely changes. So if you're sensitive and you pick up people's energy and it doesn't feel good, just know that's theirs and start remembering something that makes you feel good. And imagine a white light all around you, and you won't pick it up and you won't be responding to it. It's not your thing anyway, so why would you? Okay, another question? This gentleman way in the back. Do we have to tip him?
All right, so in my life, I have let people in where I've trusted them too much, and I've been burned a bunch of times, and I'm not able, I put the best spin or I see the best in people, but when that's not the case, it's kind of come around, and I haven't been able to correctly judge the situation or even protect myself or others, and it's almost like the Minnesota nice or the passive aggressive or the snipers in the midst or the narcissist.
So the best thing that you can do is, first of all, you didn't do anything wrong by loving. You didn't do anything wrong by giving somebody a chance. The best self-protection is loving them. Corny as it sounds. You don't have to love what they did, but that initial feeling that you had about them, remember that. That's what drew you to them. That's what will protect you, is that you meant love. Then you start looking at it as, I can feel love, but I'm going to ask my intuition to give me a clue if there's another person like that coming into my life. Because let's say the last two people that did that, let's say they always wore brown and black together. Never anything else, it was just brown and black. I'm just making this up, but you'll see why. You're at a party and you meet somebody and you instantly are drawn to them, and all you see in your inner eye is brown and black, brown and black, brown and black, brown and black, and you can't figure out why. Oh, guess what? That's one of those people. You start asking your intuition to help you. And that person isn't being the way they are to hurt you, that's just who they are, they're caught. But you don't have to be caught in it. And if you love them, you can let it go. You don't have to love what they did. You don't even have to like what they did. But you can love that initial spark you had for them. Because your intuition will tell you. Remember not when I met my husband, because I wasn't open, but when I started to be open to him, and I could feel my Grandma Faye from the other side going, this is it. And she would be jumping up and down. And I'm like, all right, I'm imagining that. And then he'd say something that she used to say to me, out of the blue. Something I have to say that is not his norm to say even now. But he did, okay, I'm hearing it. Sorry, you guys, I'm taking this out. Yeah, like 5,000 people. Here, lots of meditation before I come into this building. Lots of things have happened in this building, right? And there are a lot of people here, I mean this in a really positive way, because in a way there's fighting that we do with our own energy, but we have these things that go on and we come here for peace. What a safe, awesome place to come for peace, right? Another question?
We've got time for one more question.
Hi.
Hi.
I know things like when people are going to pass or they're going to leave their spouse, and I always think, well, that's too much information. I don't tell people that, but if I know somebody's going to pass, I'll say, how is that person doing? Or they're in the hospital.
Do they have life insurance?
Today, no. Today would be a good day to say what you want to say to this person. But now if you ask me, what are you picking up about your problem? It's like, Spirit, where are you? I'm not getting anything.
So you're not a beginner, but that is something that happens at the beginning, is that you pick up on the darker side of things or the heavier side of things. How you can start picking up on the lighter side of things and having the focus change is you say, thank you for the message. And you don't have to do anything with it even. Thank you for the message. But you can say, I'm really open to other messages too. So what happens for you is when you get a feeling, I can feel there's something right here, right? So then you say, hello, higher self. Practice that now. Hello, higher self. Because humor makes you more psychic. I sure would like that information, other information that's full of light too. And the minute you get even the teeniest thing and you think, oh, is that really it? Go, yes, it is. And it gets bigger and bigger. So when you get those things, say, thank you, universe. I'm really open to all my insights. Not doing anything with those at the moment. I'm open for all of them. And then you just start gobbling them up, even the little teeny ones, because you have gotten other ones, but you think they're so small, right? Right. Right. But what you pay attention to grows. That's why I talk about the affirmations. Find them online. Get them wherever you want. I'm selling them here with books. But see how I did that? I practiced that, by the way. I did, I will admit that. But I did so I wouldn't beat myself up, right? You know that everything you put out comes out back to you. So what? You guys, put something good out. And you know you're all intuitive. Be happy, and you can start to feel it and recognize it, and it gets really bigger. And forgive yourself if you are wearing a mask to cover, and the mask will disappear. Thank you. Universe, I am here because you want me here, and I know I'm a gift to you, and your light is a gift to me. I am always divinely protected with every breath I take, inhale and exhale. Love comes in and through me. I know I'm always forgiven. I know I easily forgive, and I'm learning to do so more every single day. Everything that happens is something for me. I am filled with light. Whatever I do is filled with that light. I see that light, and I feel the power of it rise from the earth right up through me and around me. And I know my insights will help guide me, and I am appreciative of this. I know that I am filled with grace, and that everywhere I go, I never walk alone. Thank you.